Okay, now for our word problems. Now we did one of these at the beginning of class, but I just wanted to hit a few more examples with those. So on this problem we have Acme Car Rental Agency, and they're going to charge $4 a day plus 15 cents per mile. But Interstate Rental Agency charges $20 a day, but only 5 cents per mile. So how many miles must be driven to make the daily cost of Acme a better deal than the Interstate Rental Company? Okay, so let's start with letting X be the number of miles, right? Because we're kind of seeing that we're going to compare Acme to Interstate, and we want the Acme to be a better deal. So we want Acme rentals to be smaller than the Interstate rentals, right? And so we're going to have charges for Acme, we're going to have charges for Interstate. The charges, whatever Acme charges compared to whatever Interstate charges, we do want Acme to be smaller because we want, let's see, we've got to make, how many miles must be driven to make the daily cost of Acme a better deal than Interstate. So let's put that as a less than symbol in there. The Acme charges needs to be less than the Interstate charges. Now, can it be or equal to? If we want to do, if Acme needs to be a better deal than Interstate, it can't really be equal to. All right, it does need to actually be less than. So, Acme, how much are they going to charge? Well, they said their rate is $4 a day plus 15 cents per mile. So let's write that as a 4 plus 0.15 times X. Now for Interstate, it's going to be similar, but theirs is a $20 a day plus 5 cents per mile. So we can write it like this. Okay. Now in this one, it's not asking you for your inequality. I think it did on number 1. But this one just wants you to solve it. They want to know how many miles. Okay, so we've got it set up. Now we just get to solve it. So let's get X together. And remember, we do want X over here on the left-hand side. It does make the setup easier in the long run. So we're moving our 5 cents over here. 15 cents minus 5 cents gives you 10 cents times X. And let's move the 4 back over here with the 20. So we have 10 cents times X is going to be less than 16. Divide by your 10 cents. And we're left with 160. Okay. Now it's not just 160 miles because it's all those miles that are actually less than 160. In fact, 160 isn't going to work, right? Because it's not the or equal to. So we want to go strictly less than 160. So whatever way you can phrase that, but just make sure that it's not or equal to 160 miles. Okay, so you can use the phrase less than 160 miles, smaller than 160 miles, no more than 160, okay, something to that effect. Now, number 9. Oh, this is one I made up. I wanted something similar to what you were working on your homework, but I didn't want the same scenario. So I tried to make up my own little scenario. And growing up on a cattle farm, I was always told that if you lift a calf a day, you know, as the calf grows, so do your muscles, and soon you'll be lifting a whole cow. Well, okay, I kind of put it, you know, I've fudged some of the numbers here to make it fit into an equation. But let's imagine that when a person is undergoing training, weight lift training, the average human can lift a maximum of 400 pounds, right? I mean, eventually we aren't going to be able to lift a calf. That's going to be impossible. So let's max out at 400 pounds. Let's just imagine. Now, if a person starts lifting a calf, and let's say the calf starts out at 15 pounds, but it's going to gain 5 pounds a day. And again, I'm just making up some numbers here. How many days will the person be able to lift the cow? So the calf starts at 15 pounds, gains 5 pounds a day, but we're going to lift it every day and it's going to gain that weight. So our muscles are getting bigger as that calf's getting bigger, but we're going to top out at only being able to lift 400 pounds. Okay, so how many days are we going to be able to lift this cow before it becomes too much for us? So where to start? Well, we need an X. And the question was asking us, how many days will you be able to lift this cow? So let's let that be X. X is going to be the number of days. And so we've got this cow that weighs a certain amount, but we know we can't lift more than 400. Okay, so whatever that calf weighs needs to be smaller than our 400 pounds, our maximum, right? Is that making sense to you? The weight that we're lifting needs to actually be smaller than the maximum weight. Now it could be or equal to, okay, because our statement up there said that the average human can lift a maximum of 400 pounds, meaning 400 or less. Okay, so we do need to go or equal to. So the weight that we're lifting with this cow needs to be less than or equal to the maximum weight of the 400. Well, let's think about the cow, the weight that we're lifting. How much is it? Well, it started out at 15 pounds, but then it's going to gain 5 pounds a day, right? So let's let that be a 15 plus 5 times x. 15 plus 5 times x. Now that needs to be less than or equal to the maximum of 400. Okay, so there's your setup. It's not bad. You just got to think through the process there. Now, solving that, we got to get x on a side by itself. So let's move the 15 over, and then we can divide by 5, and we wind up with 77. Now, again, 77 is not your only answer. X, we said, was the number of days. So as long as we are doing this day 1 to day 77, we'll be fine, right? Anywhere in there, we should be able to lift our cow. So whatever phrase you can do to say, it's got to be more than just 77 days. Okay, so you can say at most 77 days. You can say less than or equal to 77 days. Okay, something to that effect. A maximum of 77 days. Okay, any of those phrases will work. Thank you.